What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about DogeCoin today, DOGE. It is the 7th day of January, and here we are sitting at about 14.77 cents with 7 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are. Here we are. I actually like what I'm seeing here. You know, typically, not always, but typically, whenever you move up and it's a lower high, you reject, right? You move up, it's a lower high, you reject. Right? You reject like this, you reject like this, you reject, you reject. Typically, you don't do this kind of stuff. Whenever you do this kind of stuff, you might think that you move up. Now, don't take that to the bank. Don't think that you know technical analysis just because of that, right? If you're in a trend and you see this, this doesn't in itself mean that doesn't in itself mean that you're pumping. We still can go lower, but I do like seeing this, right? And in that same kind of context, we kind of actually consolidated here. It's easy to say that we moved right up to this point and then we dropped, of course, right at the high there, but we did kind of consolidate here as a point of exactly what I'm saying. This does not in itself mean that we have to go up, but when we do stuff like this, it does get me a little bit excited. We're right here at prior points of resistance and we're not rejecting. That's good. That's a good thing, right? Here, we were at prior points of support and we rejected. Here, we were at prior points of support and we rejected, right? Here, we're at prior points of resistance and we're not rejecting. That's a good thing, I think. Overall, Dogecoin being here at 14.7 cents, you have broken out of your downtrend. You've broken out of this trend line, but you still are technically in a downtrend. Why are we technically in a downtrend even if you broke this trend line here? Because you still have lower highs and lower lows. You're still in a downtrend technically. You'll be out of the downtrend, I would think. I mean, in my opinion, getting above these highs would solidify that you no longer have lower highs. I mean, maybe for some people it'd be higher prices. I don't know. I don't know what it'll take, but looking at this overall from a high to a low, it does seem as though some sort of a breakout happened here. Breakouts typically happen when there's very low volume, and you break out, you get volume to suggest that you're going one direction, one direction or the other. In this case, we went to the upside, and the volume backs that up. So I really do think that this is a shift, a moment in which we shift the momentum in Dogecoin, and we likely will continue to build from here. Okay. The expectation now, because we've gone above the 236, would be that we would push higher to the 382. It is pretty common from these areas to push either to the 382 or the 0.5, so 18.8 cents, 16.8 cents, somewhere in that range. I would think we don't stop right at the 382. Most likely we wick above it, which again gives some idea that we could go up to about 18.8 cents as well. 16.8 to 18.8 cents, that's the next target area. I don't think that we pull back from here too much. Maybe we go down a little bit more, but I don't think that we pull back from here too much. I mean, I think we're just consolidating in this zone. But let's look at the short-term stuff and see if we can figure that out. Ultimately, I think anybody who's bought Dogecoin at all within the year of 2025, right? Let's say you even bought it like the absolute highest point, even this last part here. If you've bought at all throughout this range, you're probably in the red, and you're probably discouraged with Dogecoin, right? Most people who've bought over the past year are probably not having a good time. If you hold out, what I'm trying to get to is if you hold out, this next move is coming. It's coming. It's starting right now. We're going to look back in weeks and months and note that this week was the beginning point at which we do go to take out a new high, where we do pursue higher prices. This is the starting point, the ignition point. So words of encouragement for anybody who's been holding Dogecoin. Maybe you're on the brink of selling. You're thinking about taking profits at a level of neutrality or something like that, whatever. Not taking profits, sorry, getting out whenever you break even or something like that. Just let me encourage you in saying that these movements have only gotten bigger, and I think we're on the precipice of what will be the biggest move that we've seen since the last bull cycle. So just hold out. Okay, let's look at the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom back out and talk about that. On the 1 hour time frame here, you are selling off a little bit of volume, but you're just consolidating, man. You're not really doing anything bearish at all, I would say. You're just moving sideways. You've got lower lows in the RSI, or sorry, lower lows in the price, lower lows in the RSI. Your RSI is a bit neutral right now, but overall bullish, but neutral, right? Overall bullish, relatively speaking, neutral, I would say. Very, very neutral. Bouncing off the 40, that's good. That's a interesting prospect there. Stochastics are reset, looks good. And the MACD's probably worthless, just because it's the 1 hour time frame and we're moving sideways and choppy, so it's probably not going to help us out too much. 4 hour time frame here. This does look somewhat like a bull flag, does it not? I think this looks just like a bull flag on the 4 hour. You don't really see it on the daily as much, but here it looks pretty damn accurate to me. It looks good. If this is a bull flag, the expectation then would be that we go up to about 19 cents. Hey, that's nice. 18.8 cents was one of those measure moves. Maybe we go a little bit lower first, and that measure move is taken from a lower place, and that takes us to 18.8 cents. That's one of those fib targets that we have. From a low here to a high here, and I'm not going to take the fake out high. I'm just going to take this high, the high of the move. The fact that we found support at the 236, but we've come up and still rejected, we're back down here, I would say opens up the door to go lower. So I do think we'll go a little bit lower. We'll probably find support somewhere between about 13.8 cents and 12.9 cents would be my guess. I'm leaning more toward this 13.8, 13.3 cent area personally. Anything in this range, but anything can happen. So a little bit lower, given the trajectory that we have, I would think what? More or less we get down to this level by the end of the week, and then maybe next week we start to move up higher, right? So the rest of the week we'll consolidate. The rest of the week we're going to be doing this, and then next week we'll be doing this, and then breaking out higher. That's my assumption. Easy peasy. That wasn't that bad. Little double bottom off the stochastics. That's nice, but I don't know. MACD is building bearish momentum, not decaying. And the RSI looks like it's in a downtrend. Typically, these downtrends end once you're in the oversold zone. And what you want in an uptrend is like a very broad. You want it to be very broad, higher lows. You know, like a downtrend. If you wanted a downtrend, you'd want it to be broad like this. If you're bullish and you want the downtrends to not be as bearish as they can be, you want these very narrow trends, these very fast working trends that come down to the oversold zone. So that way you get the consolidation done with, you've cooled off your indicator in a short amount of time, and then you're ready to run. And then hopefully when you run, you do this bigger kind of trend to the upside, right? It's like a wider trend. Typically that gives you more room to run. Anyways, I would think that we do move down. It makes a lot of sense in my opinion that we would go a little bit lower. Looking at this on the daily time frame with our indicators, daily RSI has hit the overbought zone and rejected. Basically rejected the overbought zone. It's very common in situations like this to find support at the 60 or the 50. Found a lot of resistance at the 50 before. I would assume that's probably exactly where we go. So watch on the daily time frame over the coming days for us to be down at this 50 level or somewhere between there and the 60. I bet that's where we find support on the RSI, thus in the price as well, and then we continue to rally. I do not think this is a lower high. I do not think we go below this low. I do believe this, in conjecture with the volume that we had and this break of this trend line, I think this is a pivotal moment right here. I don't think that we go below that low. If we do go below that low, DogeCoin is dead. No, it's not dead. DogeCoin is going to be here for a while. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I really do think that DogeCoin, first off, and I got distracted by my own shenanigans, but if we do go below this low, it's not dead. It's okay. Things are different. We'll have to reassess ourselves. Maybe we have lower prices. Maybe we bounce just below this low. I don't know. We'd have to reassess ourselves, but I don't think that's going to happen. Regardless, though, we go up, we go sideways, we plummet. Regardless, Dogecoin will recover. It will persist. It will continue to grow. All paths will take you higher. Dogecoin is the very first meme coin that ever existed in the history of the United States, or not the United States, the world and humanity. I don't know why I said the United States. The United States is not the world, okay? But in the history of the world, in the history of crypto, this is the first meme coin. And firsts in the world, not just in crypto, they typically have relevance always, right? There's better forms of like coding language out there than Java, but everybody uses Java or JavaScript, right? Everybody knows that because it's one of the oldest languages. That's why. There's better forms, but everything's adapt. Bitcoin is the oldest crypto. There's better forms, faster, cheaper transacting forms that are more scalable, but Bitcoin's the first one. Right? Ethereum is the first token with smart contracts. There are better smart contract protocols out there, but Ethereum was the first one. XRP, there are better banking protocols out there, better institutional finance onboarding, on-ramping protocols out there, but XRP was the first one. Right? Dogecoin, there might be larger meme communities, probably not, but there might be. But Dogecoin was the first one. It was the very first one. It'll be here forever. Dogecoin, mark my words. Elon Musk said it best, right? Fate loves irony. It seems that the universe loves irony. He said it best that wouldn't it be ironic if Dogecoin, a coin that was created as a joke, was never meant to be a currency? Wouldn't it be funny if it was, in fact, the de facto currency of the world? I don't think it'll ever get to that point, but I do think that it will maintain relevance just on the sake of irony alone. And I think that it'll always be here. And what I'm trying to get to is If you're thinking long term, 14 cents and what we do here is nothing compared to what we have in the long term. By the end of this cycle, by the end of 2026, I would assume that Dogecoin's all the way up at $4. And as time goes on, as history goes on, as the dollar continues to deflate, Dogecoin, by the way, what's crazy is Dogecoin is more sound money than the US dollar is. And I say that and it sounds crazy, but if you really think about what I'm talking about is the US dollar, it's not that crazy. It's really actually not that hard to be more sound than the US dollar, an ever printing, ever inflating thing that the government uses, that the Federal Reserve uses to do all kinds of things, right? At their own disclosure. It's not a protocol that's programmed in. It's at the disclosure of human beings, right? With emotions, with faults, with problems, with vendettas and their own agendas. Dogecoin has no vendetta or agenda or faults, right? Or maybe it has faults, but it's all programmed in there. So it's not something that could just be changed on someone's whim. They woke up on the wrong side of the bed, right? Dogecoin is more sound money than the dollar. As time goes on, by the end of the cycle, we'll see $4. Then we go through a bear market. The next cycle, we might be at $10. The next cycle, we might be at $20. Dogecoin is one of those coins that, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, one of those cryptos that you really could hold and quote unquote retire on. I think that it will be here for a long time. I think if you hold this for 10 years, it'll be worth more than $10. It'll be worth more than $23. You're at 14 cents now. That's fantastic gains. And then you'll have people who say, it won't do that. Dogecoin's inflationary. It has a max cap. It'll always inflate. Yes, that's true. But guess what? Its rate of inflation is fixed. Therefore, its rate of inflation is deflationary, right? The dollar's rate of inflation is stationary, not deflationary. They aim for 2%. 2% will always mean that there's more dollars. In that sense, there's a high rate of dollars being printed off every single year. Dogecoin's rate is not fixed at 2%. It's fixed at a set amount of Dogecoins, like 1.5 billion or 15 billion tokens a year. And that rate will diminish over time. All I'm trying to say is, as time goes on, Dogecoin will become more and more sound money versus the dollar. It only makes sense that it'll grow in value, even with its max supply being uncapped, unlimited. So buy now, sell for short-term gains, whatever. Buy now, sell for end-of-cycle gains at $4, whatever. Buy now, let your grandkids take it over, and it's worth $100, whatever. It's in a matter of time, it's going to go up. And the way that I have it drawn here, that'd be 2029. It's probably not going to be that fast, but I got nothing else. I'm rambling. I went from doing short-term analysis to just an overall thought of long-term retirement with Dogecoin. I really do believe in this token. There's not many tokens that I talk about like this, right? I don't talk about, most coins do not have longevity in them, but I think that Dogecoin does. And the reason why I'm saying this so much is because I want people who are watching these videos to invest, yes, invest in safe projects. A safe project is something that even if the unexpected happens, it will still come back over time. It will still come back over time. Even if you don't hit your bull cycle targets and you stop way short of them, right? Like if we didn't go up that high, we stopped right here. Over time, it'll eventually hit there, right? Safe investments are ones that grow over time, and this, I think Dogecoin really is that. Being here at 14.7 cents is a steal, but we likely do go just a little bit lower. I would assume we go below this low here. We probably go below 14 cents in itself, but find support somewhere right around there. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.